What's up, crew? Hey, I've had a good night. It's hot. Had a lot of thought about giving my testimony on here. I've had, this is probably my fourth or fifth take now, and I've wrote up a big old list of stuff, and thought it was kind of dumb at one point, and I ended up taking it all and throwing it all in the corner, and not doing the video for probably a month. And then I got to thinking on my drive into work this morning about how, like, it is a good thing that we ought to give our testimony and the things that we've learned. There's good lessons to be learned in any bad situation that we've been in, but anytime we keep things in the dark, I feel like that's kind of the schemes of the devil, and to keep us shameful, and to just keep things on the hush hush. And today we're not going to do that. I'm going to speak from the heart about my testimony and my story, and just be truthful in how. Anyway, we're going to get into it. So most of my younger years, basically up until about a year before my son was born, about 3 years ago, I lived in the flesh for most of my life. Most of my high school and college years were spent with lots of drinking and drugs and smoking and pills and all various sorts of different chemicals and drugs, and sexual sin and pornography. And that's kind of the way things progressed from around. I started my addiction started kind of when I was about 15. I had a bike that I could leave my house, and I would ride my bike down to this little gas station down the road, and found a gas station that would sell me dip, and that's how I kind of found my love in nicotine. And that was always kind of my go-to for a long time. Was I love dipping. That was like my little thing, my go-to. And then from there, I enjoyed drinking beer and hanging around a campfire. I guess I should say I'm from Middle Tennessee, so I've grown up here in the South my whole life, and so part of the culture here was to always, go out on a Saturday night, and then you go to church on Sunday. And so I kind of lived that life of, I went to church my whole life. I grew up in the church. I went to Sunday school, but didn't really know Christ, didn't have a relationship. I never prayed, only when maybe things got tough, or that was kind of the way I grew up. And so yeah, I started kind of going to parties and stuff in high school, and then still throughout high school and going into college, never had a relationship with Christ. Sexual sin and drugs only became more prevalent. And then I started smoking a lot of weed and marijuana in college. A lot of weed. I would smoke probably 3, 4, 5 times a day, from the time I woke up basically until the time I went to bed. I had various pill addictions at different times, with Adderall and painkillers and whatever basically I could get my hands on. And I've had some other questions about mushrooms, and mushrooms kind of came along towards the end of college. I couldn't really get my hands on them that much from different people, but I had one instance during the springtime where me and somebody's got some in college, and I had a small dose, and I liked it, and I liked it so much that towards the end of college, thereafter college, I had a little small grow operation that I was just kind of doing, not really to sell, but more so to feed my addiction, and just kind of so that I could get high and then my buddies could get high. And specifically the ones that I would like to grow are the golden teachers. It's a specific strain of mushroom, but they're kind of a mild psychedelic. But kind of to fast forward through all that, not to give it a whole lot of credence, but just to kind of give you a little bit of tidbit about that, was I had specifically one major, I had come across some, the strain was specifically called Penis Envy, which is, they're a mushroom that looks like a penis. But they are very strong in the sense of their level of psilocin or psilocybin. They're very strong. And I can't really remember to the full, but it was probably a quart jar, and had about, give or take, about 5 to 7 grams. I never really measured a whole lot, but I had what was probably close to a sandwich bag full, and dedicated basically this one day where I wanted to try a large dose. I'd heard a lot online, and at that time, I think on the Sean Ryan show, there was a lot of talk about psychedelics were becoming this big thing, and I wanted to give it a go for myself, and I did. And I had everything kind of set up to where I knew it would be a good time for me, and I was kind of at my home. I knew the weather was going to be good, and for those of you that are not familiar with having good trips and bad trips, you kind of want your environment around you to be as good of a day as you can make it. You want it to be a nice sunny day outside. You want the people around you to be people that you like. You want all right, so you kind of see the gist of where I'm going with that. You want kind of a good day. And so I didn't take the full dose all at once. I actually took probably 2/3 of the big dose, waited probably 30 or 45 minutes, kind of felt it come on. And I'm only going to explain kind of the big points of this. I'm not going to dive huge into it, because I don't want to kind of give positive credence to the drug. But I'll say that whenever I would feel the drug start to come on, there would be this uncontrollable sense of like a yawning. And sometimes there would be like, I'd have like watery eyes, and I would start to get this euphoric feeling. Things would start to feel good. I would start to get these good thoughts come on. But with this one, it was just much stronger, a lot stronger. And again, I'm not going to go just 100% into the whole experience that day, but this was an event to where I had never experienced this level of intensity and emotion and this heightened sense of feeling. For any of you that have ever tried mushrooms, you know what this feeling is like. And for those that have not tried it, I can explain it into detail in other times, but yeah, it was the highest. I'll say that I did feel like I was in the presence of God. I've always believed in God. I've always believed that there was Jesus, and I believed in the story, but that at that point in time in my life was the most defining moment of what I had sensed there to be God. And I felt like he was in the presence of me in that moment. And pretty defining point in my life. So defining that I continued to grow mushrooms, and I wanted to keep having them. I never took a large dose again after that. It was a lot. And I mainly enjoyed having smaller doses that I could not necessarily be high, but just to have a good day. Small doses of mushrooms and psilocybin would actually just give you a good day, like kind of lean you in the right direction of just a good mood. And I enjoyed that. Saw some benefits from that, like low anxiety levels, which I would encounter. And I would actually take small doses of psilocybin, and I would go to church. I started going to church more. I started reading the Bible more after that because of my curiosity after that event. But I wanted to also be high and take this in church. And it actually wasn't the most defining point in my life as in terms of my feeling of, or my testimony of becoming, or my feeling of being a Christian. But want to more clarify. So one Sunday I was in Sunday school or our life group, whatever you want to call it, where we would go to our kind of our small group session after our local congregation would meet, and it was kind of our 20s and 30s class where we meet up, and it's kind of the young adult crew that we talk about stuff that's going on in our lives to start the class, because we're all young adults, we all have kids or we're married. And specifically, I was taking this drug and I was coming into this classroom, and it was causing me to think at a higher level, and I was also enjoying reading the Bible and thinking that this was all in correlation with Christianity and what I was feeling. And it was interesting this one specific Sunday when I was in Sunday school that this one woman, this one lady that was in our class, she's a single mother, and she's got this little girl, obviously, and we were having a conversation about how expensive things are, like just homes, mortgages, food, and all this stuff. And me and my wife Paige, we'd have talked about how it's a harder time. And this woman, this girl that's in our Sunday school class, she just had a profound sense of faith, to where I kind of asked her, because I knew that she didn't have a husband that was out providing for her or anybody that was really helping her. She was doing it all on her own. She was sending her little girl to childcare every day, paying probably, I don't know, at that time the younger kids, it's like $500-$600 a week. And I'm kind of doing the math going, how's she doing this? How is she, she's got to be she's going to basically be living paycheck to paycheck. And I just looked at her and I was like, how are you doing this? And she just looked at me and didn't give two craps, and she was like, God provides to us every single month, every single week. And just didn't. And I know that she's probably struggling, and in behind the scenes she's probably, but to say that and to have that sense of faith, and then after that day, hanging around, we would hang around her, and she was always just in a good mood. And she's kind of getting in a bad situation, but I remember thinking man, here I am, I got to have this drug to be able to have my sense of security and my faith. And here she is struggling just all the time. And don't get me wrong, we're having some tough times, but it's not bad. But, what great faith she has. And I was like, that's it. That's the faith. So that at that point, I was just kind of I'm going to put this off to the side. I don't need this crap anymore. And, I'd kind of just kicked drugs, or really mushrooms. That was really the one thing that I enjoyed doing, because, and I just kicked all of it off to the side after that. It wasn't really a big deal to me. Really, my testimony comes, though, from the sexual sin that was in my life, and the lust. Lust has always been something from really high school through college, and even post-college. And if I'm honest, the beginning of my marriage with my wife, that continued to happen. Even though I wouldn't necessarily commit transgressions or acts of sexual sin, but I would still breaking that lust in my mind and in my heart, that was something to where I broke down hard after trying to quit drugs, psilocybin, weed, Adderall, all the things, trying to quit all of that all at once, and nicotine, and giving up all of that with lust all at once. As I just got married, and I was starting to have a kid, and trying to quit all this, and I just couldn't do it. I could quit the drugs, I could quit the nicotine. It was tough, but man, to quit all that lust, it was like anytime I'd see a good-looking girl, it's like there was only one thing that went on in my mind, and I just felt so convicted. And leaning to Christ after that, and being in the Word, and constantly telling myself to flee, that was more of a pivotal point in my testimony that I would love to get in at a further time. But that was more of the most defining point into my life. But I've had some people come on and be curious about my past drug use, and I know sexual sin and lust is not really something that's popular to talk about in today's time, but it's something that I had to battle with, and it's not something that we ought to shove underneath the rug and not talk about, but man, it is something that is kind of trapped up in here, right? Like the sexual sin and lust is the one sin that's inside the body. It's inside, right? It's not really something that you can see on the outside, but man, it's powerful, because it affects mind and soul, and it does affect the body. I broke down. I was sitting in a QT gas station. It was one night I was coming home late from work, and I was listening to I think it was a Wednesday podcast with 3 of 7 Project, and Chad and Chili were talking. This was years ago, and it was the talk was about, we battle not with flesh and blood, but with the spirit rulers of this earth, and ideologies, and demons. And demons are a real thing, and that was kind of diving into demons, and how specifically in that conversation, Chad and Chili were both talking about, like addictions and drugs and demons, how like back in the day, or in the times of the Bible, they would refer to things as demons, but in today's time we refer to them as sicknesses and illnesses type thing. And I just felt like, man, I had just all these demons that I was battling, and I can remember sitting at that gas pump, and it was the first time in my life that I had spilled my heart out, and I'm crying like a baby at this gas pump, and I just said, God, I can't do this, and I just said, I need some help, I need some direction in my life, I need you to come into my life at this moment, and I just broke down, and I lost it, and I still kind of tear up thinking about it to today. And it's the one time in my life where I was just like, I can't do this. I can't break the sin myself. I need you to come into my life and give me a sign, give me something that and most of it from then on was, like just reading the Bible, staying in it, and doing what it says. You're not going to do things perfect every single time, but when times get hard, John chapter 15 verse 5 says, abide in me. If you abide in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. And it's that relationship thing where it's like, man, when things get tough, if you stay right there with me, if you keep that Bible right here, and you stay, when things get tough, you read that thing, man, bring it out And it's a relationship. And so yeah, that's a tidbit of my testimony. I think I'm at 20 minutes now. That's really it. That's really the main gist of my testimony. If you got any questions, message me, holler at me, send me a comment, whatever. Love to hear from you. But I just got to thinking about young people and how lust was something that I battled in the dark. And man, for so long, it just kicked my butt. And any young people out there, young guys, girls, whoever, I did some counseling there after when I was trying to beat the sexual sin, and I put Covenant Eyes program on my phone to try to beat that. And I think everybody should have these things. But my therapist, one of the things that she told me is 70 or 75% of the people that claim to be Christian, they battle with pornography. And I got to thinking about that, coming into work this morning. I was like, if 3 out of the 4 people that I have life group with, Sunday school with, Resurrected with, 3 out of the 4 people are battling with that, maybe I can say something that'll help them. And so yeah, we're not going to shove it underneath the rug and not act like it doesn't happen. I battled with it. I battled with it while I was married, and I ended up telling my wife that I had an addiction, and it crushed her. And but she showed me grace, and she showed me love, man. And she could have easily walked away, and I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed. But yeah, that's all I got, guys. I love y'all. Have a good day.